Welcome back to another fantastic episode of I'm going to Talk, and you're going to listen. This is episode, I don't know, it's about 90 trillion dollars degrees outside. I'm tired as hell. I won't do a really long homestead update this time because not a lot's changed. We still have 3 more trees to put in. It's been too damn hot. A bird is still coming through and destroying the last little bits of tree that I have left all the way down to the twigs. We thought it was a rat. The rat's nibbling little bits of things off, but I don't think the rat's chewing the trees. I think the rat just likes the leaves and stuff. So I think it's a bird. No matter how much I fluff the netting out. Anyway, blah blah blah. We're double watering the cucumbers, and the cucumbers are just getting massive. In just a couple days, we had enough cucumbers to do 2 big jars of pickles. So again, I just keep going back to, like, you're not going to make it when shit hits the fan regarding gardening. It is so true. Like, you have got to spend years potentially trying to figure out where everything likes to be, not to mention dirt. And we've started to develop a dirt routine. I think I talked about that last time. So I think we're going to have like one area, and that's going to be the cucumber side. And then I think the other area, it's going to be like the zucchini side. And then we're going to have like the middle area that's like the tomatoes and potatoes side. I don't know how we're going to keep the strawberries alive, because a rat just comes through and just randomly chews all the strawberry tips off. Doesn't even eat them, just chews them off, I guess, because it's a little shithead. I don't really know that I have like an overarching theme this time. I'm partially just trying to do this to stay awake. I'm freaking exhausted. I haven't been sleeping with crap. One interesting thing, I know a lot of you just hate crypto. I kind of don't care. I'm going to talk about it anyway. You should know what's going on with crypto and AI, whether you like it or not, whether you think it's weird or not. You should still know what's going on with it as just a part of your normal situational awareness. Crypto took a giant dump about a day or so ago, two days ago, two nights ago. Some whale, like one of the OG whales, sold off billions of dollars of Bitcoin overnight, like overnight Sunday night, which is funny. Some of you will appreciate this. I was talking to an AI about it, and the AI totally called it. And what this guy did was, I'm assuming it's a guy, I don't know, could have been a gal or an it, sold $2.5 billion in Bitcoin, traded it for Ethereum, jacked the price of Ethereum way up, and then I think some people finally use that as an opportunity to sell their Ethereum, and then crashed Ethereum and crashed Solana. If you don't know anything about Ethereum and Solana, they're the two like kings, or maybe like the king and queen, if you will, of like the L2 coins, aka shit coins, aka meme coins. They're almost all exclusively built on Solana or Ethereum. And Ethereum is a dead coin, and Solana is super crashy. And Solana tanked big time. It tanked a lot. And the AI had kept telling me, like, Solana, Ethereum are going to be treated like meme coins. They're going to be super volatile. And then, like, that same night, that's what happened, which is really wild. So the AI has been pretty spot on when it comes to forecasting what's going on with crypto. I think that's pretty interesting. Like, I am by no means saying you could become like an expert pro trader on crypto, because it's still being very, 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 very heavily manipulated by the whales, and the fact that some of it's centralized. But I still think that's why like Bitcoin is going to be king forever, until the L2s can break out of Ethereum and Solana. But that could be years. 2026 at the earliest, like 2030, it could be 2030, 2031 at this point, which is just way too long for most people. So some of you might be interested in that. I don't know. You should be maintaining situational awareness when it comes to crypto and AI. So I guess my main topic, if I had to have a main topic, is like opinions can be wrong. Like having an opinion doesn't make you some kind of authority on the subject. And also, if you have an opinion, you shouldn't feel the need to just spew that opinion out every single time a topic comes up. People don't need to hear your opinion, especially when it's the same obnoxious opinion every single time. I don't know what causes people to have to constantly reiterate their stance on something constantly. There's also what's called survivor bias, where like because it's your opinion and because something worked for you, that does not mean that it'll work for everybody, or that it's even necessarily the right thing to do at all. It's very common when there's like a fight, for example, people who are not good at fighting can, in some cases, at least for a brief period of time, be better at defending themselves, because they're unpredictable and they would take risks that a normal fighter wouldn't take. And people who have been sparring their whole life all of a sudden get caught with their pants down, getting knocked out by somebody who doesn't know what they're doing. It's called survivor bias, and then that person starts defaulting to that. It's very common in self-defense. I would probably be more likely to pull my pen or my flashlight out in a self-defense situation because I pulled my pen and my flashlight out a million times to do things. That by no means is an implication that in a self-defense situation I should pull out my flashlight or my pen. But a lot of people may say that, like, well, it's their opinion that you need to pull out your pen and your flashlight. Well, that's not based on facts. That's not based on even anecdotal evidence at all. It's just based on what someone wishes that they could wish into reality, which is that, you know, their opinion has some kind of validity. It's like you can have just a completely invalid and irrelevant opinion, and you don't need to say your opinion every single time the topic comes up. And the one I see the most, and I'm not picking on any one person, but the one I see the most is that, you know, people shouldn't live in the Cascadia, anywhere near the Cascadia subduction zone. And I see a lot of people saying, you know, move east of I-5, move east of the Cascades. You know, I see this whole you should move thing sometimes 10 or 20 times, you know, a day. And if everyone says you should just go move off a cliff, are you just going to go move off a cliff? Like, no, you're not. There's people that live in Tornado Alley, which I think is a dumb place to live. There's people that live just on the East Coast in general, and I think the East Coast is a horrible, horrible place to live. But also they have hurricanes. I don't go tell those people they should move. And I think, man, these wasps. I think if I'm standing on a hornet's nest, like, I'll move off the hornet's nest, but I'm not going to go move to a place where there's no hornets or wasps or whatever, or spiders. You know, I think I think it's suboptimal to live in a place where there's, carpenter ants and termites. But I'm not going to go move to Alaska to get away from them. The only actual real legitimate reasons to move is like, I can even kind of grow peaches here, but I can't grow like lemons or limes. So if like I wanted to grow lemons or limes, then I have to move. Other than that, I don't have to move. That's not even getting into like the the, the myriad of reasons why moving is completely impractical and logistically and tactically and strategically all a very, very flawed concept that I'm not going to get into because I've just repeated it ad nauseum. And the bottom line is, you keep moving, the grass is always greener, you keep moving, you're just going to run out of resources. And the sooner that you can see outside your bubble and realize that if you're moving without a strategy, if you're just moving because people just say just move, and just move is always the answer, if you're not addressing like the underlying problems of why you need to move to begin with, you're not actually improving your situation. The correct response would be not to move, it would be to improve your situation. Figure out how to improve your situation. And after you've exhausted every other situation, then move. If you're at the bottom of a river and the river is about to flood, you should get out. But you don't need to move. You just need to have a plan, right? You need to have warning systems and you need to have plans. If you're one tribe and you're being raided by another tribe, you don't move. You figure out how to, improve your security system, likewise, if your house is being vandalized, which has happened to me when I was a kid, I don't think the answer was to move. I think moving was stupid. If the only reason why you're moving is to not be vandalized anymore, you're not addressing the root cause. And that root cause has to involve, again, potentially having to do some not nice things. And when, I don't know. And I always immediately want to say, you know who else was told to move? The Native Americans. You know, that was the whole beef with like why colonizers are bad, because colonizers made everybody move. And I'll say a lot of times, like, I feel like California has been colonizing the rest of the United States like a bunch of angry, pissed off ants. I don't think the answer when California is taking over the rest of the U.S., I don't think the answer is to move. I think when the illegals are taking over, the answer is not to move. And I think if you move, the place that you move to is going to be treating you potentially like an invader, at least for a while. It takes years and years and years and years and years to build equity in your community. And moving for the sake of the Cascadia subduction zone, really what you realize is they want you to move so they can feel better. They're not offering you assistance to move. They're not offering you any logistics. They're not offering you any solutions. They're saying move. And it's because they're pre-programmed to have just move as how they can absolve themselves of any responsibility, because they moved in the past, or in a lot of cases simply because they don't happen to live in an area that they've perceived as an immediate threat. Therefore, the answer is for everybody to move. However, that really doesn't make any logistical sense, because that doesn't take into account all the people that are moving here. The people that are moving here want us to move. Except they're moving, which means they're moving from somewhere else they didn't want to be. And what happens when you've found the place that you want to be? And now you have the tribal groups buying land back. Why don't the tribes just move? Why don't the tribes just move? Just move. Just move. Just move. Why aren't the tribes just moving? Why are the tribes buying their land back? Why are private equity firms buying up all the land? Why is China buying up all the land? And they're saying, just move, just move, just move. Marv was talking about this, I think, last night. Why would some asshole that you don't even know offer you $2 million in cash for your house that's not worth that much? And just move, just move, just move. Why don't, instead of just move, just move, just move, everybody realize like why they're trying to make us just move? I think it just makes people feel better because it absolves them of any responsibility to say just move. I honestly, if you say just move to somebody, I think you don't give a fuck about that person. I think when you tell somebody to just move, you're telling them, go fuck you, you're on your own. If you won't move, you're on your own. That's what I feel like when people, oh, the Cascadia. Oh, there's going to be 200-foot tidal waves. Oh, there's going to be 10.0 earthquakes. Just move. Just move. Just move. Just move. I thought we were preppers. I thought we were patriots. I thought we had don't tread on me flags. I thought we stood our ground. I thought we believed in building castles. Just move. 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 Move and then what? Move and work where? Move and afford what property? Move and what resources are available? The answer is none. Like, you could have just moved maybe 20 years ago. You're not just moving now unless you have an extremely, extremely, extremely rare job that you can work from anywhere. Which, by the way, even I'll go back to the whole Vantards thing here for a second. All the Vantards thought that they could just move, just move, just move, just move, just move, just move, just move. Well, all those Vantards, they don't even own homes. They don't own anything. They own a vehicle. And they're running out of places they can just move to. Just move, just move, just, do you know how insane and stupid that sounds to just say just move? You can't just move. There's nowhere to just move to. You can't just move to Idaho. I follow a person on Twitter right now. They went up to Idaho. They didn't even have a place to park their van. And it's going to be illegal to park your van at people's houses. Like, I think by law you can have like one trailer per property. So, like, even if I had two parts of my family here, I'm sure it wouldn't last for very long. Just move. Just move. So, like, I could have my mom and stepdad here, but, like, what if I wanted to have my brother and his wife? They have 2 trailers. Well, is that one trailer too many? Just move. Just move. Okay, but you're running from problems that are actively moving. Just move. Just move. Just move. The laws are changing everywhere. Everyone moved to Texas. Well, conservatives moved to Texas, and a lot of liberals moved to Texas. Just move. Look what happening. Look what's happening to Utah. Just move. Look what's happening to Idaho. Just move. Look what's happening. Everyone moved to Montana. Just move. Just move. Just move. Just move. I hear it probably 10 times a fucking day. The second people find out I live in the Pacific Northwest, just move. Do you think that's some, like, grand insightful fucking deliverance of just like awe-inspiring. Oh, I've never thought of that before. Oh, just move. Oh, wow, it's so simple to just move. I have 2 acres on a beautiful fucking property, and I can garden basically whatever I want. I just don't think I can have a lot of people move onto this property, because that's something I have to figure out. But that doesn't stop a house down the street from having like 5 families in like a tire fortress on it, and whatever bullshit they've got going on. Which, by the way, at the end of every single one of these roads is some kind of absolute like podunk white trash fucking compound of drug lords. Just move. One of the first things my friends made fun of me for when I got this place is they're like, haha, you moved out of the city and you're still surrounded by meth heads. It's because meth heads are everywhere. The cartels are everywhere. The illegals are everywhere. Californians are everywhere. Gun control is going to be everywhere. The mobs and riots are going to happen everywhere. Civil unrest is going to be everywhere. Martial law is going to be everywhere. It's going to be everywhere. Okay, so I'm trading earthquakes and tsunamis for hurricanes or tornadoes. Just move. I live in a pretty damn good spot. The housing market is going to be horrible everywhere, if not already. The interest rates are horrible everywhere. Oh, the volcanoes could go off here. Okay, well, you could get a fucking giant tornado in the middle of the night that you can't even fucking see. Just move. You could get like 3 hurricanes back to back that could just swoop right around and hit you all again. Just move. You could live downstream from a dam that bursts. That should happen almost in California. Just move. Like, you could have a train derail. Just move. Oh, there's poison everywhere. Oh, like a reservoir full of like poisonous water up in the mountains that you don't even know fucking exists explodes and there's no alarms. Just move. Your kids could be, at a summer camp, and all of a sudden there's a flash flood in the middle of the night. Just move. It's there. You could live in the forest in the middle of nowhere, and there could be a forest fire. Just move. Just move. Just move. Oh, it's your opinion? Opinions can be wrong. Opinions can be wrong, and they can be coming from a place that does not have your best interests in mind. I think telling people to just move is a coping mechanism when they believe that they're fine and they're the one person that's managed to make. What's going to happen when 90% of people are unemployed? Just move. Like, what happens when cartels are everywhere? Just move. Okay, so I just moved and I don't live in El Paso anymore. And the cartels are in the small towns too. They're in the big towns and the small towns. They're in the rural. Just move. Just move. Just move. Just move. Just move. Just move. That if we were all like full remote forever, and full remote forever was like ingrained in our constitution, and if there was like full reciprocity across every state and all the states were actually equal and your resources perfectly transferred across, that'd be great, but that's not how it works. Just move. My opinion, man. It's my opinion. Just move. It's not safe there. Just move. It's like saying just, oh, you're in a bad relationship. Just leave. Oh, really? All right, part 2. Back out here in the outdoor office. Thankfully, I got to Vision's chat just in time. He had probably one of his best streams with Hudson Valley talking about snakes in the grass. Um, so if you haven't checked that out, check that out. It's talking a lot. It's talking a lot about like bad people in the group, but also like feds, informants, snitches, and stuff. Is really good. I kind of only sort of partially remember what my second topic was going to be about. I forgot if I talked about this already, but it's definitely like a rat that's eating all the leaves off of everything, but it's definitely a bird that's eating the branches. It's really weird. But like we have a lemon tree here. This lemon tree is just annihilated. It's like things are just eating every single leaf off this thing. Anyway, I have a sneaking suspicion nobody cares about the homestead updates. So part two is kind of a two-parter. I think number one part of this, you're going to say shit that pisses people off. That's okay. Existing in a world where people can say shit that pisses you off and they don't fucking care that it pisses you off and say that it's just their opinion and therefore it's perfectly within their authority to piss you off, and you can't say something that pisses them off back, as long as it's not a personal attack, whatever, like attacking your idea versus attacking you. You're perfectly within your rights to say to piss people off too. There's going to be consequences, but here's the thing: like, if you're just tiptoeing and walking around eggshells around everybody, and they're free to just completely talk shit, because it's their opinion, and they just excuse their shit talking because it's their opinion, and they don't want to accept the fact that they're talking shit, doesn't mean that they're not talking shit. And it doesn't mean that, you have to just absorb their shit talking. Now, you should make an effort to not shit stir and not just implode everything. And this is a big deal on Twitter, especially, and I've brought this up before, where all the mutuals don't argue, publicly, because there's a lot of people out there that'll sow division and set everyone against each other. But like, if someone says something that you don't agree with and it pisses you off, that's within their rights, and in turn, you should be able to say things that are going to piss them off. If they disagree with you, you should be able to disagree back. And both sides should be able to defend themselves. Like, if you're gonna talk shit, especially shit that's like can't really be defended, people should be able to have a response that's a critically thought out response. And I think a lot of that has left the world. Sure, we're all here to, well, I don't know, I guess everyone has their own reasons for being here. Some people are trying to gain influence, some people are trying to make money, some people are trying to help people, some people are just trying to spread their truth. Truth versus facts is like a very, very big problem. People saying opinions as if they are facts is a huge problem. People having opinions and not allowing them to be challenged and not changing their opinion when faced with like the irrefutable truth. These are all big. We've lost. The internet has caused a lot of this to go by the wayside. to where there used to just be like conflict resolution. People used to be able to just disagree with each other, and it didn't turn into a big festering clusterfuck. And I can't remember whose channel I was on the other day, where it was like, it's okay to disagree with people without it turning into a giant personal attack dumpster fire. Was that on Rural's channel? No, that was on Zero Hour. That was on Zero Hour, where it's like, you can disagree with people without you becoming diametrically opposed, but people just, which, here's the thing, you're never going to 100% agree with anybody on anything. So if that's where you draw the line, you're going to be constantly at odds with everybody. I can disagree with people and still hang out with them on a lot of stuff. Not everything, but a lot of stuff. So, like, on Marf's chat, overwhelming amount of people that say, just move. Every fucking night. I disagree. And I can factually prove why it is probably 99% of the time, which is all I need. Because everything's situational, nothing's 100%. But, you know, I'm not going to argue with these people. I know that they can't be reasoned with. I just ignore them. Is it okay that they have that opinion? I don't care if they have the opinion. I think they're fucking wrong. Otherwise, just nobody would live anywhere that's even remotely risky. And I don't know how that shit works. I don't know where in the United States. I remember thinking about this as a kid. Is there anywhere in the U.S. where there's no threat of a tsunami, a hurricane, a tropical storm, a volcano, an earthquake, a Darude sandstorm, like windstorms, bitter freezing cold, horrible heat? Everywhere in the U.S. is a compromise. That is a fact. That is a fact. And I think the Pacific Northwest, and I've been thinking about this for years now, and it's why I doubled down on staying here, is I think the Pacific Northwest is going to be one of the last places in the U.S. that has a climate that everybody is actually going to be semi-tolerant towards. I think, not that I think the planet is heating up, but like, sometimes it is definitely hotter. Sometimes it's definitely colder, and in a lot of places it's definitely flooding a lot more, and there are way more forest fires. And if there is a forest fire, then you definitely do need to move. You know, just like if you're standing in the road, you need to move. But that doesn't mean you just live somewhere without trees. You see, like, I feel like any person with even like a hint of common sense would be able to understand these analogies. And I think the other thing is, like, you're not moving away from bad actors. Orange Man wants to let in tens of thousands of Chinese students, even though it's been overwhelmingly Chinese students bringing in invasive species and viruses. We've got God knows how many H-1Bs here now that can't even speak English, that are driving semis, which are probably one of the most dangerous things that exist in the U.S., and we basically just handed them over to the H-1Bs for free. All of our jobs are being replaced. There isn't going to be anywhere to go, except, so then what do? You have to find some place that at least is remotely survivable from a weather standpoint, and that means living somewhere where you're not going to get overran with fires, or volcanoes, or hurricanes, or floods. Like, and that amount of space, I'm sure I'm forgetting a few natural disasters, tornadoes. Like, the amount of places that are going to be hospitable is going to get smaller. Crap, I'm going to sneeze again. I do not want to sneeze again. Not to say that people can't live in like 110 degree weather, because you definitely kind of can, although your organs will start cooking after like 108 degrees. But you're going to run into other problems. You're going to have massive electricity, and your bills are going to go crazy. There's water problems. So the Midwest, you think the Midwest is an amazing place to live? What's going to happen in 5 years when the Midwest is completely taken over by data centers? You still think it's going to be a great place to live? Are you going to move? Are you going to move? I got to move because there's data centers. I got to move because there's windmills. I got to move because there's 5G. I got to move because the cows are farting. Like, these data centers are going to be like Fort Knox times 1,000. And I have seen the videos of the first, like, mega data centers. These are data centers the size of Costco's. The light pollution alone, not to mention the sound, is something that human beings have never experienced before. I think people living next to the windmills was making them go insane. But I saw the videos from inside this gal's house because she had the news over. And the lights from the data centers were shining like through her curtains in the middle of the night. And she was doing like blackout curtains, I think. And it looked brighter than day. It looked like a friggin' grocery store level of brightness outside. And in 5 years, they're going to be on their own grids, and it's not going to be that big of a deal power-wise, hopefully. But you're just going to move? You're just going to move? I don't like it, so I'm just going to move. There's a Walmart, so I'm just going to move. There's cows, so I'm just going to move. With like, come up with something else. Come up with something else. And so, one of the other podcasts I was on Show and Tell's podcast, which unfortunately got wiped somehow, so there's no evidence of that happening, which sucks, because that was a banger episode. We talked about topics that I don't think are ever, ever, ever covered on prepper channels. It was a real freaking bummer. One of the things we talked about is I kept calling people homeless when what I was trying to say is people off their meds. And it occurred to me that at least we as a society, at least in the English language, don't have a word for people off their meds. I just call them homeless. But I know Nick Easy said, not all homeless people are off their meds. And I'm like, I know a lot of them are. But I know they're just on their luck and this and that. I know. And I told him, I'm like, I don't have a word for that right now. And I don't know what to call them. Like, people that are incompatible cultures, I call those ferals. I know that is a derogatory word in some countries. I don't give a shit, quite frankly. So feral means incompatible culture. I'm not talking about a certain ethnicity or a certain religion, although there's several that fit the bill more often than not. But for people that are off their meds, I just call them homeless. If they're living in a van, I call them vantards. And if they're living in an RV or a camper that's not derelict, that they didn't beach somewhere, then those are just camper crap. I'm going to sneeze, aren't I? I'm going to sneeze. This sucks. Hold on. I got it. Uh-oh. Can I pause it time? Stupid sneeze. No, I don't have to. So I think Nick Easy said, what do you call them? Like, covert stealth campers. Like, so like the people in the RVs are like, you know, actual campers. People in like vans are like stealth campers. And that's totally fine. And then like people off their meds, I don't know. I gotta ask the AI, I guess, what a good word is for that. So like I totally respect that. That's the thing. Like, I'm not afraid to be like, oh shit, you know, you're kind of right. I need to figure out a little bit better word for that. It's the same thing with boomers. I'm not actually talking about the boomer generation, even though it is overwhelmingly like the boomer generation is like overwhelmingly fucking worthless and fucked us big time. I'm not actually talking about boomers. Although a lot of the time it could be construed that way, it's also talking about people with normalcy bias, just in general, and people that don't do anything, and that includes rhinos. All these fake fucking conservatives that just keep voting our rights away, or just keep these dumb shit ass excuses for everything. So boomers doesn't actually mean like the boomer generation. It's more of a mentality, although sometimes that includes boomers. It usually includes also, you know, boomers, but homeless, you know, I don't know. So I gotta find better words for these things. I'm working on it. It's a challenge, obviously. So yeah. It is hot as shit out here. I'm still thankful though, because if I am understanding things right, it's still like 10 degrees hotter. Probably at least 10 degrees hotter in the cities. They canceled school, I guess. You know, when I was a kid, they didn't cancel school for it being hot. I don't know how our culture got like so extremely fucking pathetic that they canceled school due to it being hot. We were in portables, not even connected to the school. And we went to school all the way through the middle of June, and we were right back in September. There was no fucking school shut down for it being too hot. What kind of bullshit? Like, if the fucking grid is down, then I kind of get it. Send the kids home. But I mean, if the parents can't work from home, the parents all gotta bust their asses to get home in time for the kids, so their kids don't get scooped up by fucking traffickers. Shit is just unreal. Like, society is not compatible with going into the office by and large anymore. When we were kids, our parents could not stop everything and come home. A lot of them worked in factory, you know, a lot of parents still worked in factories and shit. Some of them could work from home if they were in offices, but who the fuck knows? Nowadays, what is your mom or your dad, or are they just supposed to like use a sick day every time they gotta come home and watch your ass? I mean, if your kid's 10 or whatever, like, not all 10-year-olds are like really I can't think of the right word. Self something. When I was 10, I was already watching my siblings, but like, I don't know how much trouble you'd get in that for. Like, shout out in the comments if you have a 10-year-old. If you leave your 10-year-old at home alone. I'm sure it's different. I'm sure some 10-year-olds it's fine and some 10-year-olds it's not. I don't know what that age is. So maybe somewhere between 9 and 10. I always did my own thing. Like, I didn't need parents around telling me what to do because I had my own routine. I already knew the things I wanted to do. I wanted to get some weeding done. I wanted to throw some food in the microwave, and I wanted to watch some TV, and then play in the pool. You know, the little those little cheap pools that you get at the store. You know, maybe eat some blueberries off the blueberry bush. You know, take the dog out for a walk around the yard. Pick up some apples. Like, I had my own routine. You know, do some dishes, do some laundry. I was 10. I don't know. I'm like, I guess this is just what you do. It's not a big deal. I guess you could argue I probably was raising kids starting somewhere between like 9 and 10. I don't know. I've just always been that way. You know, maybe not everyone is. So I don't know what parents are supposed to do these days. You just drop everything and bust your ass and get home as fast as you can and hope that everybody else isn't doing the same thing. It doesn't even need to be like a shit it's the fan. Your personal shit it's the fan could be like, oh, fuck this school, just let all the damn kids out for no fucking reason. Which, side note, is why I think taking the cell phones away from the kids is such a horrible idea. Yeah, you can have a no comms plan to come grab your kid, and you can have a main spot and a backup spot, but what if you miss your kid by like 2 seconds? You know? I think what would happen when I was a kid is if for some stupid reason there was any extra kids on the school bus that didn't belong there. I think the school bus took the kid back to the school, and then they kind of all huddled with all the other kids that got orphaned that day because of some fuck up or the other. And then they would call the parents one at a time, and eventually all the parents would come get their kids. But like, what a dumpster fire. And that was one of the other topics we talked about on Show and Tell's podcast. These were really good topics. One of them was like, should you, could you, would you take your phone away from your kid? And there was a lot of like legal and court reasons why you couldn't, especially in divorces and stuff. I think kids having a dumb phone, no cameras, no real apps. I think every single kid should absolutely have a phone, even if it's just, you know, to make phone calls. Because if all of a sudden your kid gets kicked out of school because of some bullshit like, oh, it's too warm today, and all of a sudden all the kids get let, God, I can't believe that shit happens. How the fuck are you gonna find your kid? They might get dropped off at your house. They might get dropped off at a friend's house. They might still be at the school. And you could have a no comms plan with your kid, but that doesn't stop the school from doing what the fuck ever it wants, which is another topic that we talked about. The school system has superseded parents' capacity to be parents at almost every single level. And I remember when I was a kid, I was only like, I don't know, 7 or 8. And I was already able to just get back off the school bus before the school bus even left and do whatever I want. The school bus had no idea if I was supposed to be on that bus or not. And however, unless I slipped by the bus driver, I couldn't get on any other bus without a note, which I think is interesting. I think that's actually really good. But I remember one time I thought I saw my dad out in the parking lot. There was another van that looked exactly like his. I'm like, oh, I think my dad's coming to get me. And they let me right off the bus. That wasn't my fucking dad. The bus is already gone. Now I'm sitting at the school with no fucking school bus. And that wasn't my dad. And this was before cell phones were, you know, smaller and more portable and fit in your pocket, so I had no immediate way of getting a hold of him. And so now the logistics turns into, well, does someone come get me and take me to him? Does someone somehow get a hold of him to come get me? He's waiting at the house wondering where the fuck I am. You see what I mean? Like, and you might go radios. Like, I don't know if they're going to let kids run around with Baofengs. That would be really neat, but that only works if your parents are within a couple miles of the school. Unless you're on repeaters, and that's a whole deal. So, kids are going to ambush the shit out of each other and put the videos of the ambushes online, whether you ban phones or not. Kids are going to be able to do horrible things with AI to each other through their phones and make videos of horrible things, the worst, despicable things, whether or not phones are banned. They can't ban phones. They're just going to ban phones from the people who need them and who are trustworthy people. So anyway, there was one more thing. I can't remember what it was. I just remembered something. So I hope this kind of covers what some of you might have missed on Show and Tell's podcast. I asked Show and Tell to see if she could go find it, but she said it might be deleted. She said her Streamlabs yard thing might have deleted the podcast, which kind of sucks ass. We covered a lot of good stuff. I kind of gave you some of the overview, but me and Nick and Show went into like a lot of really, really interesting details of shit I never even remotely thought of before. Having a kid and having a kid in the school system, and your comms plan with your kid is just nothing like how it was with me in school. And fuck if I would ever let the school system take my kid's phone away. And everyone says homeschool your kid. You're right. Like, that's one of the things I'll be like, okay, yeah, there is an overwhelming amount of evidence. Overwhelming. Besides, like, those after-school meetings with the school boards and stuff where the 3 letters were bagging people, and the fact that the schools don't have to report when things happen to your kid anymore, and the rampant cyberbullying. Like, just homeschool your kids, I don't see that as like some kind of FU cop-out. Like, I agree. I think that's much different from just move. However, I think there's a middle ground between homeschooling your kids and still getting them properly socialized, so they're not like me, I guess. Shit, there was one more thing. Crap. I'll probably think of it as soon as I stop this. Anyway, that's all I got for now. Oh, the art book. I've got one more print going in the art book. I spent hours and hours reworking it again. And I am more satisfied with the formatting than I've ever been. And if this print looks good, I'm going to hit go on it. And if anyone wants to pre-order it, great. Or if people want to order it directly from Amazon, great. But it's half art book, half my opinions on AI in regards to art, as well as a showcase of all of Jim Jem's amazing work. I cut out a lot of fluff of the art book that didn't need to be there. It didn't really serve any purpose other than just like historical. This was a thing that existed even though nobody's ever seen it. And I put in like, it's much more concise now. It's still 127 freaking pages. As soon as I get this copy, I'm going to count how many pieces of art are in it, but I know it's hundreds. Anyway, that's all I got. I forgot all the other stuff. I'm sorry. I'm still working on another, the fall version of Bunker Basics. And check out Bunker Basics if you haven't. If you have, leave a review if you haven't. And I appreciate you all. If you have any questions, let me know. And talk to y'all later. Bye.